All right, everybody, welcome to the last night of the 12 days of Christmas. That will be day 12. I got this one right. And so excited to have you guys here with me. We, of course, have people in house as well as all of you here on Zoom. And then, of course, those of you that will be watching the recording so that you can see all the fun that you missed out on. So we've got a lot of things to cover for tonight. I've got my reminder list here. I have all of our guest sheets, and we've got trivia. And then, of course, all the way at the end of the program, we are going to pick a winner for the beautiful keepsake basket. So lots of things. Now, as we kind of recap each of the guests, I have already spoken with everybody, but I'm hoping to hear some voices this time for a change and get some feedback from all of you because we don't have any guests. You are my guests this evening. So I want to hear from you. So as we talk about different guests, if you have a comment, more likely than anything else, and you want to share maybe what you enjoyed about it, or maybe if you have a question, but either way, anything that you feel compelled to share, I would love that. Of course, that feedback is always great. Many of you have given me so much feedback privately, through social media. So I'm just excited not really excited to bring this to a close. And I feel like I would say that my life of Zooming is over, but I'll be Zooming Wednesday night again. So it's just gonna kind of keep rolling from here. We've got a lot of things coming down the pipe for you guys. So in the event that I lose somebody throughout the way, I want to get some of our housekeeping things off the top so that also Erin is on board, my moderator, and she can also continue to drop that in the chat to remind you guys as well. So first and foremost, I do want to say thank you, everybody, for all of your support throughout the 12 days of Christmas. We had a lot of exciting things happening, a lot of things for you guys to get in on, and I'm thrilled to be able to get your packages out to you. So Jill got hit with a tornado for her first day back, but that was her fault for taking vacation. So she diligently is starting to make her way through everything. And it was really fun to see once the dust settled how many of you have jumped on board with the various things that we've got offered, coming up in the near future. So the first announcement actually is new. And because so many of you seemed interested in the Crafting with Cotswold class, the one that we have this Wednesday is full. We actually opened it back up. So we have a total of 23 people that are going to be joining us. But we had some people reach out and say that they were interested, but neither of the dates were working for them. So we now have another class that will be offered, and that is going to be on January 30th. And purposely, that's a Thursday, because so far we've done a Tuesday, we've done a Wednesday, so we wanted to try a different day of the week as well. Kimberly's had some people on her end that reached out to say they were interested. So that is up on the website already, and just wanted to let you know in case somebody here wanted to join, but the dates weren't working for them, maybe the third time is a charm. So that's on the site. You can go ahead and jump on. To tell you the truth, we didn't even think about when that is going to close. So I will add that to the site, but right now you've got plenty of time. Then second, I want to remind everybody that we do have the Wildfibers series. So I think so far we have I don't know, 27 of you or something that have registered for all 4 of them, which really, it's kind of the best deal. Not to call somebody out, I don't even know who it was, but somebody registered today for 3 of them, and that's $30. And if you get 4 of them, it's $35. So remember, it is recorded. So if you can't join us, you have up to a week afterwards to be able to watch the recording. And then that is going to go away just as a professional courtesy to Linda, because these are things that she does, with other guilds and other groups. So do keep that in mind. And our first one is going to kick off, not this week, but next week. So you still have time to get on board for that. Then hopefully I will be seeing some of you for Vogue Knitting Live in New York City. That is going to be January 17th through the 19th. So of course I will be there. Kimberly will be there, all of my staff will be there, and we look forward to hopefully having you there and being able to see you in person and give lots of hugs and kisses and squeals and all of the things that I do that makes me absolutely useless in my booth other than just saying hello to everybody, because that's what I love to do. So then so much. I am like, these next 2 weeks, I just gotta keep on plugging. So then the next thing is many of you, actually to the tune of 35 of you already, are joining Kimberly and I for our fourth annual Life and Rainbows Knit Along. So thank you to all of you, because this was a soft launch. So basically you jumped on board and you don't even know what the hell we're doing. So that's a good thing. What it is, though, you know what you're going to get if you've done it before with us. You know the content, you know the quality of it. We've told you it's color work. There's going to be a sweater or a cowl option. And for any of you that jumped on board prior to, we have created a secret, exclusive marketplace Zoom night for those of you that have already purchased the knit along. So that is going to be Monday, January 13th at 7 p.m. Now, that's because on Friday the 10th, I'm going to get a lot of the new yarn that is specifically being done for the knit along. And so I want you guys to be able to get first crack at it before it goes to Vogue Knitting Live. If you cannot attend Monday, January 13th at 7 p.m., then we will see what we can do. You guys know I will always do anything I can to help you. But that is what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. So if we already have your registration for the knit along, you will get an email, and then you will get that exclusive Zoom code to be able to join us for that. Do not share it. If you do, you're only shooting yourself in the foot, that's for sure. So in addition to that, then I also want to remind everybody, because we've got a lot of new people with us this year for the 12 Days of Christmas. So I want to make sure that everybody knows about our community night. It's our crafting night. It's really just our night to hang out on Zoom, as if we haven't had 12 enough days of it. We want to make sure you have ways to stay in touch and continue to be involved with us. But heads up, because for January and February, our dates have to change. So normally we meet the second Wednesday of every month on Zoom. It's free, 7 to 9 p.m. The link is always on my site, so it's open for anybody. Just a very fun, casual hangout. And just, I don't know, we talk about projects. Most of the time you guys make me talk, but it's really about you and it's for you. So we'll do whatever you want. But this month, we are going to be doing our community night on January 15th. That is because the week prior, next Wednesday, we are doing the Cotswold class with Kimberly. So January 15th, it's going to be the third Wednesday of the month this year, right before I go to Vogue Knitting Live. So I will also be sharing the new yarns with community night members, but presumably maybe some of them are not part of the knit along. So that's why those of you that are in the knit along want to try and join me on Monday. Kimberly is also going to be with us that night for community night, because of course we're going to be talking about all things related to Vogue Knitting Live, the knit along, and just a fun hangout, because usually she can't join me for community night because she has her vestry. So she is free that Wednesday. Then for February, mark your calendars, because community night will be a week earlier. It will be the first Wednesday. It will be February 5th. And that's because your girl is going on vacation. So while I might be so inclined to do it from vacation, which actually I think I've done before, it's actually only going to be my either like, I think, second night there. So yeah, no. You don't want me to run community night on only my second night of vacation. We'll be having still too good of a time. Sorry. So, and it's also my friend's birthday when we go there, and Valentine's Day and all that kind of stuff. So those are our 2 date changes. But outside of that, I hope you'll pencil it in on your calendar. Continue to watch my stories, because we will always be putting it in there, reminding you guys. And also, we do have an email list that we send out usually the Monday before community night. So if you're not getting our newsletter, or you don't get emails from us as often as we send them, then definitely you can throw it in the chat, or you can hit me up and make sure we've got all of your info so we can continue to keep you involved here. Okay, there's a lot. The other thing I want to remind you guys, don't forget that you do still have until midnight tonight. Now, of course, you no longer can get anything in for the raffle, but you do still have until midnight tonight for the 50% off skincare. So that code again, TDOC 2450. if you still want to grab some stuff, you want to send gifts to somebody, this is the time of year that I am heavily delved into my skincare. Even right now, I moved it and I'm like, dang it, where'd my lippy go? I put it in the kitchen because I had to change my location for Zooming tonight. So I live by it. And if you need more, please grab more for sure. So want to remind you guys of that. And then the last thing I promise is if you are local, so this is really only applying to my local people, those of you here with me. Does everybody know about the new Eastern Suffolk Crochet and Knit Guild?
No.
Yes, so those of you that are local, so there is kind of a revival of the guild that was. So it's the Eastern Suffolk Knitting and Crochet Guild. It kind of is moving around in terms of dates and locations, but you can certainly get on the mailing list to be in the know of all of that. So this coming Thursday night, which is the 9th, I am going to be the guest speaker and doing a presentation, and it's going to be at the Mastic Shirley Library. So I know that doesn't apply to everybody, but I do know that I have a lot of local people, and I just want to make sure that most importantly, you know about the new guild. It's very active. And she's doing a lot of fun things. So definitely looking to have people come out and support them if you can get involved. And the locations change. So it's not just, kind of just moves everywhere, of course, within, Suffolk County. Oh, thanks, Christopher. Fire issue, husband to the rescue. Okay, so I hope that gets everybody. Hey, it's like him. Oh God, Brody. Try knitting with a Jack Russell on your lap. There we go. That's what happens around here. You're so patient, Ellen. I appreciate it. Oh, now we're gonna just walk across everybody's laps. All right. Okay. All right. So with that, let me take a sip because my lips are chapped. And who doesn't need a little sip of wine? Of course. All right. So we're going to kind of kick this off here. So our first guest, when we started this 11 days ago, 12 days ago, was, of course, no other than Kimberly McLinden of Knit a Rainbow. And you guys have heard me talk a lot about her. Her and I always do a lot of different things together. We have a lot of fun together. Actually, I was trying to drag her up to the mill this Friday with me, which I know she really wants to go, but she really has a lot of knitting to do because there's something like that knit along that's happening. So, and she was texting me while I was in the gym today because she's just starting to get everything together. And she's like, oh, did you know this? And did you know this? And about the sweater. And I'm like, no, but sounds good. So we just always have a great time chatting back and forth. And even though you guys have met her, many of you, I hope maybe there's somebody on here that she was new to you, because that, of course, is what this is all about, is getting to learn about new people and things that they do, or just getting to know more about the people that we so enjoy. And she, of course, is one of them for me. So her and I always talk about a lot of different stuff. Really, I never have any idea of where it's going to go. And of course, the content for our talk was just about all the different things coming down the pike. But I feel like I learned something new about her. So I'm going to prelude that as this is going to be our first trivia question. So you guys better get your little fingers ready. I see everybody getting ready to go. Now, look, some of these are going to be easy. Maybe some of them are going to be hard. Maybe some of them I might be looking for like real specifics. So this is a two-parter. I don't think it's going to stump you. I mean, if you watch the program, who knows? You could also just guess. But it's a two-parter, and I'm really looking for both of them. So at what age did she start knitting, and where did she learn to knit? Nobody? Okay, well, all right. So here's the trouble, Colleen. I don't remember the grade, so now I feel really bad. I was looking for an age. I did say age. So actually, Sherry, You are the winner. You're the first one that I see. So she was 10 years old. No, 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 no. Oh, shoot. Sorry. It wasn't her grandma. Okay, Cindy. See, I'm scrolling down. I almost screwed myself up. So Cindy Weldon, you are correct. So the age was correct. Sorry about that, Sherry. I didn't mean to get you excited. But she learned it. That's what I thought was unusual. I actually thought it was somebody from her family. So I was really surprised that she had learned about knitting from a program at her school. So Cindy Weldon, you are the winner for that trivia. I didn't think it was going to be too hard, but I'm glad I got some of you guys thinking about different things. But thank you, of course, for playing along. And yeah, sorry, Sherry. So that was something that I didn't really know about her. So I guess, with that, I mean, of course, you guys have seen Kimberly. Please drop in the chat. I know I would love to see if she was new to anybody, anybody who is new to us, new to this program. Was this the first time that you have learned about Kimberly and had a chance to meet her and hear about her? That would be something I would be interested in. I guess I would also say too, if anybody wants to, take a moment, if you, yes, now you can put down your keyboard and you can relax for the rest of the night. You're out. You've won first, you're done. Oh, Kimberly, yes, thank you. And you took the Crafting with Cotswold class with us, so that's great. Laura, even though you didn't get to watch that one yet, please don't forget, go watch the recordings. I really am going to try, guys, to continue to do stuff on my YouTube channel. I have learned how much, you guys appreciate things being recorded or things being there. I want to try and do some more stuff with the animals. So please always let me know other things that you might be interested in. I'm happy to have that incentive. And Yona, I know you're a newer name for this, and you had heard about Kimberly and her patterns from friends, which is great. So I appreciate all of that. I would maybe ask, if anybody feels so inclined, I know some of you are more chatty than others, but if anybody wants to raise their hand, if anybody wants to drop in, whether you've taken the Crafting with Cotswold class, whether you've done our knit along before, maybe you've been on a retreat where Kimberly has taught, if anybody has anything to say about any of her classes, programs, or anything that she's ever done, certainly feel free. Even though she's not here to hear it, I always am happy to pass those things along to her. But either way, I know that you guys enjoy the content that her and I do because you keep coming back. Actually, even on one of the registrations that somebody had sent in for the knit along, they were like, yay, the gang is back together again. So I'm really glad that you guys have a good time doing things with the both of us. So that is my Kimberly. So her and I were chatting a lot today, and so we're getting things rolling. So looking forward to being back with you guys again with that. Now, rolling on to our next guest, I purposely worked hard. I didn't work that hard. I mean, it was just a matter of reaching out to them again. But if you remember, last year, Kevin and Ray were supposed to be with us, and then they got hit with COVID and unfortunately had to cancel their participation for the 12 Days of Christmas, which actually worked out great because I had to cancel my first one as well. So either way, glad that they were able to join us. Obviously, they've got a huge audience. So while I feel like in many ways the people I have on, I can introduce you to new people, I'm sure undoubtedly, I don't know, did everybody know Kevin and Ray from Needles at the Ready podcast? You guys didn't?
No.
Wow.
No.
Cool. Did you just? Ah, look at that. That makes me happy. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? But they do have a huge following. Like, honestly, my stupid little YouTube recording with them on it is up to like 4,000 views. Nobody gives that much of a crap about what I have to say because all the rest of them are like, I haven't checked recently, but all the rest of them are like at, like maybe 500, 600, something like that. So I am very grateful that I know they put a feather in my cap by being on my silly little project, as I call it. So I was thankful to have the both of them. And yes, they do religiously put out their podcast. I think it is every 2 weeks. And I know that some of you found me as a result of that and then stayed with us. So I'm really excited about that. And of course, that's sometimes what I'm hoping for too, is that somebody else is going to bring new people to this platform because I do this for the community and I have a lot of fun doing it. So obviously, I'm glad some of you have enjoyed it and have stayed on for sure. But Colleen, glad to hear that you didn't know them, and Laura as well, and Amy and Jillian. So that's excellent. And thank you, Colleen, for your comments. I do see that as well. So thank you. It's been great to have you along as well. So for me, of course, I have known them kind of indirectly. We talked about, you know, their affinity for my skincare, which is completely unsolicited. They just found it on their own and fell in love with it. And then, of course, there was the one time that I thought they were stealing it. So we shared that story. And that's because, as I always like to say, you know, I live in a bubble. And so oftentimes I might know who somebody is, but maybe I don't always know their face. And obviously, I didn't think Kevin and Ray were stealing my skincare. I kind of just didn't exactly know who they were. So we laugh about that a lot of times. And I'm just always so thankful because I will have people tell me that they are just completely unsoliciting and just saying that they use my skincare and talking about it on their podcast all the time. So throughout the past couple of years, you know, often we'll give them a coupon code to share with their listeners. So I'm always thankful for that. I will say, now I did get a comment that I talk too much, but you know what? Sorry, that's what I do. That's why we do this. But I was talking so much that I didn't take a lot of notes with them. Like, for instance, if you guys, I wish I could remember what their bird's name was, and I didn't have time to hit them up, but I know that was really funny because their bird was flying all around. So they were trying to like keep things quiet on their end. Obviously, there we go. See? Skylar, I don't even remember. Like I said, I get so busy chit chatting and I get so involved in what I'm doing that sometimes I really just don't take any notes. So I feel like this one's going to be super easy. Actually, I know it's going to be super easy. And essentially, you have a, well, I wouldn't even say that. So it's going to be really easy. So you better just like, because it was just pretty much about the only, I mean, there was a lot of things, but the only thing I could be like super specific about. So out of them, which one knitted first? Maria. Wait. What? Right? Is that the first one? It was Kevin, right? Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I was gonna say, but you have the 50-50.
As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, I know what questions.
So
I just watched that podcast.
I told these guys that they had to log in. So there was no unfair advantage because there was silence over here. But Maria, who's sitting right behind me, that's why I quick turned around. I didn't know if anybody was on their phones over here. So Kevin was the one who knit first. And then, you know, Ray caught up afterwards. And of course, Kevin is the one that's now I guess retired, no longer doing his other job and doing dyeing full time. So I am definitely going to continue working on them to hopefully do a little dye collab with us and also get them here to the farm. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. And maybe it's something we can make as a I don't know, kind of a meet and greet thing, or maybe they just want to come here privately and enjoy. We'll have to see. But that's is what we'll be working on. I did ask them if I was going to, remember they said they're not sure if they're going to be at Vogue. So we'll have to keep our eyes out and see if we see them at all. So, all right. Now Maria can relax and enjoy the rest of her evening as well. Don't forget, guys, I know you're using the chat, which is great, but at any point in time, if anyone feels so inclined to, you know, raise your hand and have a comment and say something, I'm always happy to. Oh, okay. Thank you, Ruth Ann. Good, because it's not like I'm listening to it all the time, only every once in a while. So I guess they did announce that they will be at Vogue on Saturday. So, and Sherry also said that as well. So thank you. So yes, and again, any of the recordings that you guys missed, they are there. I think we had a lot of fun. It was a ton of banter. So everybody, for the most part, seemed to enjoy it, albeit except one person. But, can't make everybody happy, right? So either way, I had a blast with them and was just really excited to have them on. So big thank you to them. You can pass that along. And of course, learned a lot because I didn't really know much about them at all. So thank you, Erin, for dropping that in there. All right. We have a lot of days to cover. I want to make sure we get this all in. And at the same time, hopefully you guys are just enjoying things no matter what. Now, remember, please feel free, keep dropping in the chats. And I know now our next two recordings after, so in terms of participation live, I was floored between Kimberly and Kevin and Ray. There were 50 plus of you that were live with us, which was really, really fun to see. And that also kind of fell, towards the weekend as well. Now, I did know, or I felt like undoubtedly, that in my next two guests, because things were maybe less knitting related and a bit more off the beaten path, if you will, but still animal related, fiber related. And again, I always try to bring you guys different content, different people, and also at the same time provide other people with opportunities to be in front of this audience. So still was thrilled to have like 30 plus of you on for the next two programs that we did. And I want to say, usually hands down, Dawn is saying thank you to Christopher for keeping the fire going. I'm sure we'd be fully capable, but he's happy to do it. And everybody's busy knitting and I'm busy talking. So, but hands down, whenever I do things, I find that are non-knitting related, people do really seem to enjoy that content in terms of just learning something totally new. So whether you have an affinity for the topic we're talking about, or again, just learning about something totally new, something totally outside of your wheelhouse, I think that is resoundingly the feedback that I usually get from that. So on our third day of Christmas, my friends Bob and Jean Ford, who are up in New Hampshire, and not only do they have sheep and do they have a llama, which sadly, I will say, I was just chatting with them the other day, and I don't think it's anything that's going to be too detrimental at the moment. But it was interesting that her llama has been diagnosed with skin cancer. So I said, well, how did you figure that out? And these are the conversations that I have with friends, customers. We always just kind of go back and forth and keep in touch. So it was interesting. I guess there was like a sore kind of, and it was not healing. It was not like scabbing over. It wasn't healing. So I guess she had it biopsied. And so at this point, it's kind of an open wound that she just has to treat. And as she said, thankfully, there's no flies at this point in time. I honestly don't remember if I read her response because I was wondering, what would be the outcome at this point? Did they feel like it could spread? Is it something that they could take out? So I'll have to follow up with her on that. But sad news, but interesting, but she didn't seem too sad. I don't think it's like a death sentence at this point. So even though, she has these fibered animals, and if you didn't get a chance to watch the recording, part of talking about each of our guests is so that maybe you're like, oh, that might be something that I would be interested to learn, a little bit more about or take a look at. The fun thing, of course, was they were coming to us from the barn. So we did have a chance. I have a harder question for you guys. So we did have a chance to meet Misty, right? She was the main star of the show, and she also was a gray, because if you remember, she looked white, but we call them gray. And so they were Newfoundland. They were Newfoundland ponies because Bob is from Newfoundland originally. The other thing too, this is not the trivia question. This is not the trivia question. Like I said, I have a harder one for you guys on this one because I'm a horse person. So, but the other thing I think that people found really interesting too was that he had pictures from where he grew up, and if you remember the painting, I think it was, or the picture that he had with the lighthouse that his family actually had had their own lighthouse that then later, became part of the state. But that was really interesting. It was a functioning lighthouse. So it was cool to hear about Newfoundland, the environment, and then how much of a focal point these ponies were in Newfoundland, and how much they were able to survive off of virtually nothing that the environment provided them. But as a small workforce, then of course we also learned about how they started to become extinct, because they were more or less seen as a nuisance to the community and to the area of Newfoundland, rather than a resource. And they were going to slaughter, and their numbers diminished quite a bit. I couldn't remember numbers, so I wasn't going to dare ask you about it, but I think it's something like they got down to like 100 in the entire United States. So very, very low, and obviously in danger of extinction. And so this is where, well, then the numbers went back up, Sue, because that's what I remember. I think now, as a result of the Newfoundland Pony Conservancy, now they are up to about 600, if that's what I thought I remembered, or anywhere around there. You guys, that's why I said I couldn't remember numbers exactly. So they yeah, so it was just really cool to hear about that. And they're really just doing this out of I don't want to say a hobby. They're not breeding and selling these ponies. They actually, some of them they own, and some of them they are fostering. So that was also interesting to learn about. And so we learned a lot about their characteristics. So I'm going to see if anybody gets this one. I know there's one resounding thing that sticks out in my mind, but there would be a couple of answers to this. So everybody ready? Now I'm gonna have to really read. So this is gonna be a bit subjective, but I know what it is that I'm looking for. So when she was talking about the ponies, when she, and it wasn't Misty, she had another one out who I can't remember her name, when it was a younger one. When she was showing us the ponies, she was talking about different things about their body that are adaptations to them surviving in Newfoundland. And I'm interested to see if anybody remembers some of the things. Okay, whoa! All right. I will. I'm gonna. Wait, Cheryl. You guys are going too fast. I gotta keep scrolling because you keep typing in. So Cheryl, and I'm assuming that's Cheryl Clemens. I'm gonna ask you to drop in the chat. Can you expand on that? Because of course they have hooves. Otherwise they would have no feet. So I need specifics here. I'll give you a chance. So if you can drop it in the chat and tell me specifically. I'm waiting for you. It is better, but why? What was it about them? How are they better for all terrain?
If it's easier, just unmute.
Yeah, you can unmute if you want. You guys have the ability to unmute. I did that this time. Where are you, Cheryl? Are you busy serving?
I can't remember what. I just know their hooves are made for all terrains, and she doesn't worry about them climbing the snow, any of that stuff.
I know, but you're gonna kill me, and
That's all right.
That's why I wanted to
trying to Google it, but I just know their hooves, and she was talking about because the rocky fences and the mountains up there, and she doesn't worry about them falling like a normal horse couldn't be out in the snow.
So I tell you what, the first three of you, where are you? So and you know what? I'm gonna give. So I'm not a terrible person. I'm not that tough. I will give you credit, but I'm gonna give my first three answers. But Beth NG, do you remember? Where are you? Can you unmute yourself? Do you remember what she said about the ears? Because I know they have ears.
Yes, they're smaller ears.
Yep, I know. All right, I got you. I don't know why you've got a, you must have two things open maybe on your end, but yes, so I will give you that as well. Where are you, Beth? I'm gonna mute you. There you go. But yes, so they had smaller ears as well, to kind of shield from, the wind and the elements. And then also, Julie Reese, I'm going to give it to you also because you were the first one to talk about the lower tail set, which does go in combination to like butt sloped. That was Ruth Ann's answer. But I mean, that's, that is in combination with the lower tail set. So again, guys, these are not like, it's not like you're getting yarn and things. These are little prizes and I can afford the postage because we're all here for fun.
Okay.
So
So Cheryl, Beth,
I don't know, why is that happening?
and Julie.
Yeah, but yeah, no, yeah, it's weird that it's sometimes the feedback is like if we have two things open, but that's okay. But yes, so we've got Cheryl Clemens, and then we've got Beth NG, and then who did I say was the and then Julie Reese. Look at that. I'm feeling generous. All right. So, honestly, guys, I give you credit, especially not everybody are horse people. And I was like, all right, I'm going to ask a confirmation question because that was something that I thought was really neat, me personally, to learn about, in terms of, how their bodies adapted to survive the weather and the environment, all those combined. And then obviously those are adaptations that they've not lost just because they're, here in the US. So I really thought that was cool to learn about that. I mean, honestly, there was so much content that we all learned from. And Sue, thank you for saying that you felt like it was a really interesting, it was fascinating and you remember nothing. That's okay. Honestly, half the time I'm in the same boat and I'm, in charge of all of this. But I think sometimes I just get so focused, on the guest at hand and, interacting with everybody. So as long as we all enjoy it and we know we've learned something from it, that's all that matters. And to bring awareness, right? I mean, who knows? So remember, if anybody is ever in the New Hampshire area, they're in Fitzwilliam and they're up by Gap Mountain and they are looking to build a little education center, but there's a lot of trails and hiking. And I know that with notice, nobody loves the pop-in. They would always be happy to, have guests, and their farm is beautiful. I did post on my stories some of the view. Obviously, I shear there every year, so and hopefully will continue to do so. I guess maybe once they no longer have their llama, I'm gonna have to work on job security there. Because if you remember, they said also the sheep were getting older, and at this point in time, I actually don't shear their sheep. I just shear the llamas. There was 2, now we're down to 1, so we're gonna have to work on that. If nothing else, I know I still have a place to stay whenever I'm in the area. And as of right now, I actually have somebody just like 5 minutes down the road that I also shear for. So that always makes it nice. So yeah, and it really is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area, right? What is it? Live free? No.
Live free or die.
Live free or die.
Didn't I say like live free or let die, or I don't know. I remember when we were on the program, I got it wrong, but it was still funny nonetheless. So anyway, for those of you that were able to join us live, wonderful. For those of you that didn't catch it, I hope maybe this encourages you to go ahead and listen to the recording if you haven't already. And I think for the most part, because I'm definitely somebody who listens to podcasts while I'm on the go, oftentimes while I'm driving, oftentimes while I'm out feeding the animals, I'll have something in my ear, or if I'm just doing mindless stuff like dishes or laundry, I'll have something in my ear. And I will say sometimes it's a challenge for me to listen to our more traditional knitting podcasts because I want to stop and look at whatever somebody's talking about, and yet I need to kind of continue on. So I do think really that this is something you can very easily enjoy and listen to, maybe with the exception you want to take a peek at the ponies, of course, because they were live, but I think it's something that you can listen to on the go. So I hope maybe if you've just got some time while you're doing something else and you multitask, you can catch up on all of it. And please, do me a favor and don't forget to go on over to that, to my YouTube channel and subscribe and give me incentive to keep doing stuff over there. I'm a very goal-oriented person if you don't know me. So you just got to tell me that you want XYZ and I'll do it, because
It's the best comment I've heard all night.
It's the truth.
It is.
It is absolutely the truth. And give me a deadline, I will take it right to it. You guys know Kimberly and I have admitted that we work very well under pressure. But I will say again, truly, I would love to know other things that you might be interested in because incentive is key. So, and I want to keep things going. So that was our ponies podcast. And so then for our fourth day of the 12 days of Christmas, this was just kind of something that happened very haphazardly, a little bit last minute. I still had a slot or two that I was working on, dates with different people. And I also didn't really get to focus much in the summer of the fact that my llamas legitimately were going to camp. So I was excited to be able to offer this opportunity to Ashley, who is a student, and she had a project that she was involved in and literally had said to me, hey, can you help me bring this to a larger audience? I'm like, I've got the perfect platform. So in a way, this is really me saying thank you to all of you to help her with her project. And, you know, I think regardless, still through the conversation, you know, it was fun and entertaining. They showed up in llama or alpaca onesies with hoods. So that was really fun. And that was a big surprise. Ashley's mom is a teacher, I think for like elementary school, younger kids. And so definitely has a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and passion for what she does and brings llamas, you know, into her classroom all the time. I think honestly, almost my favorite was towards the end when we got into the whole tortoise thing, and then they were talking about the tortoise that they had. So now they've been sending me tortoise pictures and videos and things because I was telling them how I saw something recently on social media. So that was fun. So my trivia question, and then I could talk a little bit more, but I don't want to slip it up. So there was a reason. So basically, Ashley had this project, and I'd love to know if you can tell me not what was the name of her project, but what was she going for? What was she doing? That went really fast. Okay. Girl Scout Gold Award. Ruth Ann. Yes, that's exactly. And I was looking, I literally texted her and I was like, okay, specifically, what is this called? So it is her Girl Scout Gold Award. Which was something that I was unfamiliar about. Excuse me, guys. So, and I had said even on the podcast that I've heard of the Eagle Scouts doing projects and having to meet certain requirements, but I honestly never knew that there was something for Girl Scouts. So I was really excited again to be able to bring her to the platform. And again, I really think it's mostly just a thanks to you guys because I think graciously, I had told you about it ahead of time. So we were all there to support her, to give her that platform and for her to be able to talk about her project and everything that she did, of which my llamas just kind of haphazardly got involved in. Meaning, if you remember, she was talking about, so her mom and her work at a school/day camp called Ivy League. If you remember, I also, if you did not watch the podcast, I was almost going to pull out the pictures and I thought, nope, you're going to have to go watch the recording if you did not see it already. But I was so excited to tell everybody that this was my nursery school. So I was 4 and 5 when I went there. And I think I was maybe in like the 2nd year class and the 3rd year class. So it was newly formed at that point, but that was still a whole hell of a long time ago in which I was part of Ivy League nursery school. Now it's this huge conglomerate and a day camp as well as also a school on the school season. And the operation there is just absolutely amazing. And so I randomly got a call from them that they were looking to get new animals to their camp this summer. And we're looking for a different experience, and roads led to me. And I was sure this was not anything that I was going to do at all because these are my babies. And to turn over my babies to camp, I mean, look, we've all been to camp. Camp is a great time. But, you know, camp counselors, they're like, usually there's a little too much freedom for me in terms of, my animals being there and who is going to be taking care of them and how are they going to be taken care of and were kids going to be poking and prodding them and, all of that. So I grilled them like any good helicopter mom would. And we talked a lot about that in the podcast, but Ashley's project before my llamas had even gotten there which was part of why I agreed to do this. The areas were completely renovated. There was new fencing, bigger buildings. There was thought and planning in the area in which they lived. There was aisleways created. There were plants around it so that it looked nice. There was going to be educational signs. So when I went there, it really made me feel like they did care about the animals that were going to be there. And I honestly did not know that was really all in part to Ashley's project until this kind of all came, full circle. But also, wait a minute, what did I just miss? I see Erin said, I'm glad I wasn't drinking when I read that. I don't know. Is Tabitha going to send me the Samoas tucked away in her freezer? You think they're, no. I already said those are single servings. So if there are Samoas in my possession, they don't last. They go in the freezer till they get crunchy, and then that's pretty much, one evening serving. So, but you know what? That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll make you wait and I'll send you, but if you keep it up, Ruth Ann, I'm going to send you the cookies you hate the most. So, anyway, like I said, with that, lo and behold, my llamas were at camp for 6 weeks. So every Monday I would drive my kids to camp, 2 llamas and 2 sheep. And every Friday I would pick my kids up from camp so that they could get a little break for the weekends. And we rotated them through. So everybody got a little bit of a break. And it was really a lot of fun. We would get there to camp on Monday morning, and then we would go walk and meet the kids at the bus, getting off the bus. They were involved in, the morning announcements and assemblies that were be happening. And there's a big competition of green and white, and they were involved in that. I also took a lot of my ribbons that we have and gave them to the camp so that they could, hand them out to the kids if they had little competitions or something. So again, the success of my animals being there was completely because of Ashley and her mom. They were the ones that were solely responsible for my animals throughout the time in which they were there at camp. They would text me and let me know they were doing fine. They would send me pictures. Of course, I got better, by week 3, I was like, okay, I'm good. But week 1, I think they were about to kill me. But as they said, they are responsible for thousands and thousands of 2-legged children. They were sure that they could manage my 4-legged children. Like, I don't know. These are animals. You have children. They might be animals, but they're children, and you know what to do with children. These are llamas and sheep. So, but they were great. So anyway, thank you for, again, supporting Ashley and making her feel welcome, and especially in the chat, all the comments and accolades that you were dropping for her. I know she felt really appreciated, and she was really, really excited to be part of that. So thank you. And if you missed the recording and you want to see what I looked like when I was 4 and 5, then you can go ahead and watch that, and you can see my nursery school pictures. Oh gosh, somebody's excited. Somebody's excited. Somebody's got the zoomies. Somebody's got the zoomies. Do you have the zoomies? She's like, I don't know where to go. Everyone's on the couches. Normally for the zoomies, she comes in here and she jumps onto the couch and runs around in circles, and the pillows go flying everywhere. So she's like, I don't know what to do. I can't have the zoomies. All right. Well, thank you, Amy, for your comment on saying she was so amazing. And honestly, she was afraid that she was going to be too shy. That's the other thing. And she was so articulate and yet so engaging as a high school student. So I was sure to let her know that as well. All right. On to the next day. Because of course now, what are we on? Day 5? Day 5. Yes. So day 5 was my dear friend, Allie Kennedy. If you guys did not have a chance to watch this particular podcast on Grateful Acres, if you want to see another ball of energy like myself, that is Allie. And when her and I first met a few years back, when I showed up on her farm to shear her sheep, it's not the trivia, but anybody remember what her sheep's names are? Maybe I should have made that the trivia. I thought you would know this. Thelma and Louise, Crystal, yeah. I saw
Louise.
Crystal's face. Crystal was like, so I thought that was going to be an easy one, so I didn't want to make it that. But yeah, so Thelma and Louise are her two big, huge sheep, tall and fat, that I shear. But I've just been completely blown away by what she has done in the short amount of time that I've known her, because really when I met her, her farm was newly incepted. And so she's grown so much over the years. And she talked to us, Grateful Acres. One, she is a deadhead, so that's kind of part of where grateful comes from, but then also just being grateful. And essentially this is a grief care farm, so she focuses a lot on mental health, mental wellness, and heading out, ma'am.
See you, yeah,
All
I
right,
am.
great to see you, Kelly. I'm glad you're able to make it.
Oh, she's really-
All right, sounds good. So
Hi, Kelly.
everybody. And that long trip home.
Yeah.
Like a very far trip.
She lives right around the corner. Again, just really engaging conversations about the work that she is doing, utilizing her animals to hopefully better people's lives and to help people. And in that process, she also has gotten herself certified as a grief counselor. So despite the topic, I mean, I think was a very uplifting, inspiring, podcast. And her and I have had a lot of, similarities in our journeys and have just kind of quickly bonded. Of course, we all wish we stay together more often throughout the year, but it's kind of like one of those friends that as soon as I see her, it's just like we pick up where we left off. And I've been trying to do whatever I can to help her. She does actually have my skincare that she sells. And so that helps her to, raise some money that way. And sorry, Ellen. Brody is just making himself at home over there. He's like, I know this lady. She comes here a lot. I can just sit on her lap. So I feel like this is an easy one. Actually, there was a couple of different ones that I was going to ask, but then I had to also remember the answers myself. So, but I'm gonna, I was thinking should have been like, okay, how many different kinds of animals? But here's the trivia question. When she started her farm, what was the one animal that she had when she started? Yeah, let's say pony, horse. I mean, I think technically it was a horse, but I'll give it to you, Amy. Wait, Susan Manahan, I'm thinking ours was supposed to be horse. That's what happens when you get typing too fast, right? But I will say, I mean, I thought there, would have been more jumping in. But so, yes, I do think it was a horse, not a pony. Same thing, it's equine. I want to say, is anybody, we did talk about this in one of our other in the Newfoundland, just because I feel like throwing something at you guys. Who can throw in the chat? Who can tell me what's the difference between a horse and a pony?
Their size.
See what we got here. Ooh, close. Susan, you do have it. So even though you thought it was ours, you do know the difference. So, and I think that is very common knowledge for me, but I forget a lot of us might not be horse people. And I always think it's interesting because look, sometimes people think a pony is a baby horse or like a different breed. And in some cases it can be a different breed, but yes. So, the difference between a pony and a horse is based on size, and they are measured in hands because the old-fashioned way of measuring them was minus your thumb was this way. Try not to show you guys my thumbs. So that was the old-fashioned way of measuring, and then it was thought that maybe a larger hand, I'd have to measure my hand, is 4 inches, right? So every hand equals 4 inches. So anything over 14.2, right? Because you have 14, 14.1, 14.2, 14.3, then it goes to 15. So anything over 14.2 hands is considered a horse. Anything 14.2 and under is considered a pony. So that's the difference. Well, a miniature horse. So the question was for a miniature horse. So technically, also a true pony has some different conformational characteristics than a horse, proportionately speaking. So a miniature horse is supposed to have more of the features of a horse, but just in a tiny size. Yeah. So yeah, so look, we're just all full of fun facts for everybody here. Who the hell needs knitting? Let's learn about all sorts of other things. So anyway, remember too, guys, and I should say, I feel like I need to like back up in a way also, because just to remind you for some of our guests in terms of how you can keep in touch, get involved. I mean, of course, Kimberly, you guys know where to find her on social media. And you, of course, know that she also has her Ravelry page. She does have a website, so you can find her patterns and different things that she offers on there. Kevin and Ray, of course, they've got a website. They've got their podcast that they do every 2 weeks. So you know where to find them now, hopefully, to be able to keep in touch with them. My friends Jean and Bob Ford, they're not on social media. They don't need it. Again, they're just doing this because they have the time and the resources to be able to lend themselves to the Newfoundland Pony Conservancy. However, the Newfoundland Pony Conservancy does have a website. And I'm sure there's ways that you can check that out or get involved. And they do have social media also. Of course, Catherine and Ashley were just here with us as regular people and guests. So no need to keep in touch with them in any way, unless maybe you want to send somebody to Ivy League day school or camp if you're local, of course. And we'll hopefully be having our llamas back there again. And then, jumping to Allie Kennedy, she, of course, is set up as a not-for-profit and does rely on donations and people supporting her efforts and her missions. Of course, if you're ever in the Delaware area, you certainly can stop in and visit with her. At the same time, you can find her on social media. She does a lot of stories like me, more so than posts. And they're all about the animals. And I think she really kills it in her stories. So I encourage you to follow her, check out her stories, start to learn about all the animals on her farm and all the good work that she's doing. And honestly, I don't know if I'm sure it's through her website that there's ways to donate if you also feel so inclined. And sometimes they just do small things like, I think she was calling them like $5 Fridays, or they'll pick different animals in which even just a $5 donation, helps her to do different things that they are looking to do there on the farm. So just, again, sharing and making sure that you guys have ways to continue to stay involved, with our various guests, if you so choose. So moving on to our next guest. The infamous, I feel like, that's a good word, right? If somebody's infamous, they're good. Okay. I didn't want to make her out to be like, some bad person. So Linda Courtright, I feel like many of you before last year maybe were less aware of her. Linda is somebody who's been in the industry for quite some time. Penguins, yes. She is all about her penguins. And so she originally came to this fiber platform by having a magazine, really as a writer and an author, but also as somebody who used to breed cashmere goats. She was kind of thrown herself, into this world of infamous is bad. Right. Thanks, guys. I thought so. See, that's what I was worried about. All right. So she's good. She's a good famous kind. So in the efforts that she had to do this magazine, it had her traveling all over the world. And I feel like that was, I don't remember how long. I mean, she did stop the magazine once COVID occurred. However, prior to that, even her magazine went from 4 times a year to once a year. And so I feel like I knew of her for different reasons. She's always been a keynote speaker actually at our Llama conferences over the years. So that's how I've met her. And she does, of course, vend at Rhinebeck also. So maybe people would see her there. But I think outside of that, she has her own unique niche that maybe not the everyday knitter would necessarily know about. So I feel like last year, you know, by having her on the 12 Days of Christmas, helped to at least bring her to the forefront of this community. But again, I would say please drop in the chat if you're new to us, if she was new to you. It's always great to know these things. I'm always curious in terms of somebody who I am so aware of. And so just curious to see if she was new for anybody else that was here. Now, obviously, if you were with us last year for the 12 Days of Christmas, then you did, of course, have a chance to meet her. And I know many of you participated in the lecture series that her and I put together last year. So yeah, so she was new for you last year, which is still great to know. I mean, that's why we do this. So of course, with COVID and her not being able to travel, then that is what forced her to have to close the magazine portion of things, because as I remember her telling me, it takes her 3 years worth of travel to be able to put together enough pictures and stories to have been able to do the magazine. Well, Kimberly, thank you. And I will also say you can actually, if you have nothing better to do, you can go back and listen to the past 2 years of the 12 Days of Christmas. So while there's not much else on my YouTube channel, that is there. So feel free to scroll back through the videos and you can find other guests that we had on last year and the year before. Also, there's a couple of videos I will say on my YouTube channel, because I used to do something called Tuesdays with Tabitha. And those are animal based. At the time, you know, people were registering for this and we recorded it, but now we just have it up there for people to enjoy. So you might like some of the things that are on there and maybe want more things like that. So you'll have to let me know. But it's all there. So you just got to scroll and yeah, definitely check it out. So Linda and I go back a long, long ways. And as I've always said too, I consider her to be like the National Geographic of the fiber world. I think it was new to me that I learned, I was just like, all of a sudden I just saw porn. I'm like, where did we go, ladies? What are we talking about here? So yes, we did do a breeding session. That's what Ruth Ann is referring to. Of course, I forget. For anyone watching the recording, obviously you can't see the chat, so now I'm yelling out words like porn and llama breeding. So hopefully you watch this all the way through. But yes, we did do a llama breeding session, I believe. I think we did, because that's just funny, right? So why wouldn't we? But it's also educational. We have to find humor in things. So anyway, so with all of that, oh, I don't even know where I was. That definitely got me off track. But Linda is, I know what I was saying now. Thanks, Ruth Ann. I remember being surprised that she actually did all of her own photography. Like, I really thought somebody traveled with her and did the photography with her, but that was all her photography, which is just absolutely incredible. And of course, the places that she visits are just absolutely incredible. So, you know, the stories are endless. And personally, when I say that listening to her, and I think people can drop in the chat and agree, she is just absolutely engaging to listen to and to see her pictures. Her stories are great, but she also has a great sense of humor and she's just an amazing storyteller. That's all I can say. And, you know, I think that as a result, last year, we pulled together very, very quickly out of our butts after I saw how much people responded to learning about her and enjoying listening to her and knowing that she has so many more things to share. You know, I encouraged her and we put together this lecture series, which really is not the right thing to call it. So help me in the chat if you participated in last year's. I don't know how to best describe it other than it's just a pictorial journey of particular topics and the stories that go along with them. And each of them are so specific to places that she's traveled or maybe a particular, again, topic or concept. Sustainability, I remember, was one of them. So that involved different areas that she traveled to, but she was talking about sustainability across the board for fibers, you know, all over the world. so there's always different things. And I people who jumped on board last year, I know loved it. And I will say truth, this year, while I know she has a million and one stories in her pocket, I almost was like, oh, I'm not sure if that was just kind of like something we rode last year in terms of the train, and is it going to be something people would be interested in again? But I don't think she would have a problem for me also saying that my reaching out to her to put together another series was also to help her. I will say, unfortunately, she's had a lot of difficult, not bad health issues, but bad issues with regards to her hips. Like, I'm sure she made it public. Many of you might have heard. I mean, she was away at one point and literally dislocated both of her hips on one singular trip, and had a nightmare of a time getting home. I believe she was in Scotland at that time, but that was not even the first time, because there was a time when I was somewhere and she went down to a conference, another Llama conference, and she literally just stepped back off the podium and dislocated her hip and landed herself in the hospital. So she's just, and I'm just saying this to be earnest, she's just had a hard time. She's not going to be able to be doing a lot of her traveling like she normally does, although she's still organizing things. And I just honestly wanted to make sure if there was any way I could help a friend, that I did. And so that's why I approached her, and I'm like, look, everybody loves you. I know you have a million and one stories, a million and one pictures. Maybe some of the stories are slightly repeated, but we could just listen to them on end. And so that's why I put together another lecture series with her. Also, I'm hoping there's some of you that are new and you did not get a chance to do last year's. And so she's totally new. And now you're just going to be totally in awe all over again. And for those of you that joined us last year, I know that you're going to still find more great content, new stories, new pictures. And we are going to lead off with the Falkland Islands, which we all know that she loves, probably more for the penguins than for the sheep. But I've learned so much already myself, now having some of her yarn that she is able to secure for me from the Falkland Islands, and also roving. So these are things that I've just enjoyed being able to collaborate with her. So if you haven't already signed up, again, remember, right now you still have the opportunity to jump on board. It's just $35 for the 4-lecture series. We talked about that at the top of the program. So I hope that if you have not signed up already, you'll join us. You will enjoy it, and it'll also help out a friend as well too. So thank you for thinking of that. Now, with that, I feel like this is going to be an easy one. So I'm going to get myself ready. Trombone. Dawn, knock it off. I'm gonna disqualify you. You're just trying to throw out things, but no, it's not that hard, because again, actually I took some notes with her. This is not the trivia question, but does anybody remember? I was floored when she told us about her mom. Does anybody remember what she said her mom did? Yeah, well, it doesn't work that way, Dawn. You can't try to pre-think the question. Nobody remembers? Yeah, her mom was a national champion figure skater. And for those of us that are here in New York, we have what's called Madison Square Garden, which is huge. It's this huge venue, big concerts, big sports stuff. And and Dick Button. And and so her mom was a figure skater and had actually also skated at Madison Square Garden. So I was floored about that. And I think it was amazing. Think she was in ice dance. Oh, that I didn't remember. I just remembered that she said that, she was there. And yes. And then if you remember, Dick Button visited Linda Corright's farm. So she was talking about how he was oh so disenchanted and in his visit to her farm. And she was quite put off by that. So it was really funny to hear her talk about that story. So underwhelmed for sure. So again, if you did not get a chance to see that recording, please go watch it. And if that alone doesn't get you to also join us for more fun stories and for more pictures, actually, Stephanie Scott, who just commented in the chat, not only did she love the lecture series so much, she actually ended up going on one of the trips that I think I don't remember if Linda ended up not being able to go on that one. I can't quite remember. But either way, I know Stephanie Scott actually participated in one of her trips. So she did also just announce that they are going back to India. Now, of course, she's not going, but Stepkis, many of you hear her talk about him and her relationship with him over the years. So he's going to be heading it up, and she feels probably even way more confident to do that than her. But either way, lots of great things that she does. So here's my trivia question. So sorry if you can't type fast enough. When she was on with us, she had a backdrop. What was the breed of penguin in the backdrop? Okay, wait. It wasn't emperor. It was king. See, there you go, Dawn. And that was fair. That was fair. I'll give it to you, even though I said I was going to disqualify you. So don't ever tell me you didn't win anything, Dawn. There you go. All right. But yeah, and you know what, the one thing I couldn't remember, so you guys have to help me. There was one that she was talking about. Was it the macaroni penguin?
Yeah.
Where she said it was like with the eyelashes?
Yeah.
With that was, yeah. So I thought that was the most interesting, but I didn't have time to like doubly do my research, and she was talking about it. It's not like we were looking at it, but that one sounded really cool. So I think I want to make sure I see what that actually looks like. No, you're not disqualified from the keepsake basket. I was just playing with you. This is just about the trivia, but now you cannot pre-guess anymore. So, oh, cool. With the macaroni penguins. Yeah. So obviously there's plenty of different breeds of penguins. And, you know, so we had a little bit of a conversation about of the different breeds of penguins and how they differ from one another. Basically, anytime I see penguins on social media, I'm always sending them to her. So I know she enjoys them. So that's just kind of a fun thing that we do back and forth. Just put my trivia in with my keepsake basket. I will do my best. All right, so that is our time with Linda Courtright. So thank you. And I know that was also New Year's Eve, right? So last year, her and I brought in New Year's Eve together and again, we did that. So that was wonderful. I know many of us stayed in for New Year's Eve and, you know, at least enjoyed some safe time at home with family and friends. So thank you for those of us that were live together for New Year's Eve. Of course, that always makes it special. So after that, I'm just trying to, I had to look at my notes here. So after that, then we chatted with MJ, Mary Jean Parker from Battenkill Fibers. Honestly, there was tons of interesting content. This is when I started to ramp up instead of ramping down on my on my casual conversations with my guests. We now, from here on out, got to like pretty much 2 hours, and probably could have kept going if I didn't cap myself. And definitely, many of you were like, "We need a part 2," you know, with Mary Jean. So there was just so much to talk about because, just again, I'm personally interested in all of these things and the content. I thought actually a lot of the history that she talked about was really cool with her mill. There's honestly just too much history that I couldn't really quite think of, you know, what to ask with relation to that. But if you guys remember, she was talking about Susan B. Anthony and how it ties in with the history of the mill. You know, of course, the name of the mill is a little more mundane because it's right by the Battenkill River. So a lot of things are named Battenkill in that area. But I really did love hearing a lot about, you know, the history of how it once was a mill a long time ago. And of course, there's so much that goes into it. Now, I'll be there this Friday, so I'm hoping this time to have a little bit more time. Maybe I can even try to go live on Instagram from there. I'll definitely get lots of pictures, but I'll be going to pick up a bunch of yarn, and actually I'll be bringing fiber to drop off more for them to do for me. So I'm excited, you know, to be able to be back up there again. And actually, don't even mind the drive. I mean, at this point, I seem to drive upstate New York just all the time now. It's my next favorite thing to do, I guess. And I've got lots of stuff I can do while I'm driving 5 hours up and 5 hours back. So either way, when she was talking about her mill, and I wanted to keep it a little more technical because I feel like we have to learn about different things related to the yarn that we use. And I also wanted to get this straight for myself. So I think that's why I'm making this the trivia question. So when she was talking about her mill, what type of yarn does her mill spin? Good. There you go. Who, let me see. I was going to say Stephanie Cross. I mean, no, not Stephanie. Wait, no, is it Stephanie Cross? Yeah, I'm getting all my Stephanies mixed up. I wasn't sure. So you guys were really listening. John, you gave it a good try. I knew that was going to be more of like my really big yarny people or spinner people, to be able to know that there was even a difference between a worsted spun and a woolen spun yarn. So her mill does a worsted spun yarn. Now, I'm not going to talk about what the difference is here because that's why we recorded it. And if you did not get to see the program, then please go ahead and take a look at it because that was lots of content, not only about the process of how it goes from start to finish and the different steps, how different mills will spin different types of yarn. Again, she talked a lot about the history involved in all of that. So there really are, there was so much content to be able to get out of that, especially since we are all yarnies, no matter what we do with yarn. So I think that was definitely a big one that a lot of people enjoyed, and lots to learn. And I'm glad about that. So I hope everybody enjoyed my programming with her. She also just does amazing other work. I want to talk about somebody else who has tons of energy. I mean, she might even rival me. I almost felt like a little underperforming after talking to her between everything that she does with the mill and the Hudson Valley Textile Project. And then now she's on the board of the American Wool Council. She actually is also phasing out of the mill. Lord knows what else she'll be doing. All the different contracts and things that she's involved in. She hustles for sure. So I've definitely been impressed in learning even more about her than what I knew since she's been involved in the industry for so long. So good. Kimberly is saying she's looking forward to watching that recording. So again, even though the 12 days of Christmas are over as we know it, that recording, all of the recordings are still there. So I hope you'll take the time to continue to catch up on them. And while you're there, please comment. Keep the activity going. I do need to get back and check on it. Obviously there's been a lot going on around here as of lately, but it forces me to get over there and look at the comments and respond to comments and just to get feedback from all of you with regards to all of that. So please continue to head on over there and check out the ones that you've missed. And that's part of the wrap-up party too, is just to give you a little snippet that maybe if you didn't see it, then you're like, oh, I got to go check that one out. So definitely was a good one with MJ for sure. All right, now, then moving on, we had a chance to conversate with my dear friend Shanna Felice of Lambstring Yarns. Now, I have just loosely known her as an indie dyer, of course, because she used to live here on Long Island, and we just got to be friendly from vending together at different places. She's just got a great spirit and a great personality, and I don't know, she's just very outgoing also. So she would always take the time to, stop on over or we'd catch up, chit chat. Even when she was shopping and me as a vendor, she's always been so gracious to come in, say hello, support me in different ways. So I think that's always amazing about this community, about everybody who's involved in it. And of course, she moved upstate, so I don't get to see her as much anymore. But her and I did a dye collab a couple of years back. We actually had a knitting cruise off of Montauk. So it was like a little boat trip for a couple of hours off of the point of Montauk. And so that was really fun. So I had reached out to a couple of my indie dye friends to do some kind of water beachy inspired yarn, and she was one of them, and she did a wonderful job. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you try working with different people and you need to see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And she, like I said, just did a wonderful job. I loved her colors. I do love her aesthetic. And talking with her, I know sorry, I'm reading the chats. Yeah, there were a lot of people that wanted to participate in the knitting cruise, but motion sickness kept a lot of people away. Although I will say it was very subdued. I mean, we were just like at a snail's pace around. I mean, half the time you hardly knew you were on a boat. Now, of course, I guess it could have been different if the waters were rough or something. And somebody is still saying, yes, actually, Elizabeth Fenton, I still have yarn from the booze cruise. It wasn't a booze cruise. I mean, that could have been a lot more fun. But it was a cruise nonetheless. Great. And I was going to say, I know somebody's putting some suggestions in the chat. And yes, Stephanie, you did get quite a few raffle tickets buying some of Shan's yarn. So thank you for that. So either way, it really was, I don't know. I think wholeheartedly, not to say that I was surprised, but I really was engaged in the conversation. I really didn't know where it was going to go. And I really, truly had more of an appreciation for at least what she does, as a dyer, her perspective on it, and the process that she does and how she takes it. She, really helped to explain a lot of that. And I think you could definitely see her passion and her enthusiasm for it and for what she does. But I think there was just a lot more behind the scenes that I really wasn't aware of. So it was interesting to see her take her journey, from a fine arts degree and then, apply it then into her yarn dyeing world, if you will. And so I encourage you, keep an eye out for her. If you might see her, if you kind of live in our area or the tri-state area, she does vend at various places. She, of course, has a website, so you can certainly go and check out her yarn there. I loved the dye collaboration that we did together. I will say, resoundingly, the blues, which I had a feeling were going to be the most popular. That was the Peconic Bay and the Forge River. Those are sold out. I mean, this was a small collaboration too. And also Horizon, which was kind of like that we called it Spring Horizon. It was like some kind of creams and some dull yellows and some really subdued purples. So I think there's only one left of that. Also, surprisingly enough, I think because she talks so much about liking breed specific yarns. So she dyed some of my Valleys Black Nose Merino blend and did that in the kind of rustic red and green theme. We were calling it Noel and St. Nicholas. So I think there's only one left of each of those. I will say pretty much the fingering weight in those same colors on my white picket fence base were slightly touched. So there's, still some of those left. So not much of it, but if you didn't get in on the dye collaboration, there's still some there for you to jump in on. So just wanted to post that and let everybody know about that. Now, one of the things that she talked a little bit about was kind of like her struggle from having a fine arts degree. And actually, if I remember correctly, I think she went all the way through like her master's, and she really wasn't totally sure. You have an idea, you're not really sure what you're going to be doing with it. But just a simple, fun, maybe perhaps little trivia question. Can anybody remember what store it is that she worked at for quite some time after she got done with college? Yep. So Laura, and it was funny because it's sort of like no longer. So it was sort of like a blast from the past. And I just thought that would be fun. So Laura, I think, is that Laura with the IOCO? I don't know how to properly pronounce your last name, but I think that's who you are. So I'm just going to write that down so I have that too. Cool. So yes, yes, because I remember you said sometimes people think it's loco. So with that, thanks for coming, John. I appreciate it. Oh my God, absolutely. All right, take care. So with that, moving on. Again, I will say, I mean, I don't want to not give that credit. I also just want to make sure I get all this programming done so that we're not going too much past 9 o'clock. And of course, we got to get to the basket. but I really, really, really enjoyed the conversation with Shanna. So again, if you did not get a chance to see it, I think you'll equally find it interesting, and it has a lot of content. I also thought it was interesting how she talked about how she likes to dye multiple times. And, you know, to tell you the truth, I couldn't remember if she said it was 2 or 3 times. I know she doesn't like to do too much because then there's just too much going on. But I really thought it was cool how she would use the pot submersion to do like one dye, and then oftentimes then transfer it into a sheet pan to be able to add other colors on top of that. And the thought process, you know, behind the depth that she was looking for. Obviously, if you see Shanna, you'll see she's got a very like moody kind of gothic vibe about her, and she carries that into her yarns. And while I do love working with people that dye my yarns and have a different aesthetic than me, she is definitely my aesthetic in terms of colors, because I do like color, but I'm not a brightly colored person. So I think the darker side of all of her colors kind of really, you know, work well with what I like. Um, so yeah, sorry, I just have to go based on like what I see here on my screen, but you guys came right in afterwards. Actually, Crystal, you were second, and then Patty was third, and then Rebecca, you were fourth. So between Crystal and Rebecca, you beat your sister. So all right, anyway, with that, let me switch on here. Okay. So then, this is a hard one. I've got a hard one for you guys. But so then we had a great, well, it was a great conversation with Danny, who was also very patient with me. For those of you that were with us for our talk with Danny. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead on my notes. And I'm looking right here because I switched my paperwork too fast. So I miss Crystal. Don't tell her that. I'm so sorry. All right. I switched my paperwork too fast. So Crystal Hyatt was our guest on the 3rd. I don't know what day we're up to, but she was on the 3rd. I know that for sure. And Crystal's somebody new in my world. In a sense, she's been a supporter and a customer of mine. But I mean, in terms of like getting to know her, what? I'm like, look at this. Look at this. Dixie, what are you doing?
He's hoping for us.
I know, look at her. She's just like, oh, excuse me. Now, Dixie, you have to pick up knitting needles so you could really look like you're part of the crew. Sorry for the begging, but whatever you do, don't feed her. She because also too, she's not very gracious taking food. So she is like a shark. Yes, I don't want you to lose your fingers. She doesn't mean it, but I think she goes back to her days of prior to adoption of when maybe she had to fight for food. Actually, we have a whole story about her background, don't we? Your alter ego is Winona from Wichita, Kansas. Sorry if anyone's from Wichita, Kansas. It just goes on from there, and it's bad, but she's a sweet girl. All right, so anyway, I digress. So Crystal, so again, somebody newer to me that I'm working with, that I'm getting to know more as a friend, and enjoying, you know, my time interacting with her. And very quickly out of the gate, we've got a couple of projects that we're doing together, which has also been super fun. And she's just a really good human, and I just really enjoy chatting with her and getting to know her a bit more. My time with her on the conversation here, if you will, I don't want to call it a podcast, I absolutely loved. And I had so many different things that I felt like I could have asked you, but I mean, we have so many similarities in different ways, and clearly you guys were just in on two friends chatting. And just when I thought I was going to like wrap it up, then something else would come up. And then if you did not see it live, you need to go watch the recording. Oh, Sue said it was the best guest because I nearly jumped through the screen when I found out that we both did race go-karts. I don't know why I got so excited about that. And we have a lot of background similarities with her family being involved in cars and restoration, which also, how cool that so many of our guests kind of like intertwined in one way or another. I thought that was also really cool because then with her car restoration, Then by the time we got to Sarah as our last guest, those kind of tied in. I need to pair those two together. So there were just so many different ways that so many of our guests, had similarities and parallels that I thought it was amazing. Erin, I know who Dawn is, so don't worry about it. So with that, we also, I was able to share with you guys. So if you don't already know, or if you missed that, Crystal Hyatt is Factory Girl Designs. She also has these maker boxes. They're subscriptions that are quarterly. Kimberly and I are in I think it's considered the winter one. That one is sold out. I know she is shipping those soon. I know as soon as I posted it that many of you then ended up going to see who she was, what it was all about. You finished buying up the rest of the boxes that she had. She was thrilled. So I thank you for going on over and showing her the love. And I hope, since having met her, maybe you've jumped in on some of her other boxes. You can buy one at a time, you can buy two at a time, and they're a surprise. So all you get to see is the color inspiration for the box, and that's it. So I think that's kind of fun too. And she also talked about how she curates it with other goodies from other makers. So it's not just yarn and a pattern. And mind you, it's both a knit pattern and a crochet pattern for whatever the piece is, which I also think is super cool. And again, all sorts of other fun goodies in there, some knitting related, some not. So it just is a really cool theme. And yeah, she talked about band camp. That I almost died, because you guys know the movie, right? American Pie once in band camp. And she didn't bring that up, but I thought that was so funny. Yeah, so we talked about marching band. Her and I both played the clarinet, so we had fun with that. Although she was way more accomplished in marching band than I ever pretended to be, for sure. So just lots of fun things, lots of fun things. And if you also have started to follow her, you'll get to know her little dog. So Sophie did join us for a little bit. She seemed rather unenthused about the whole thing, but she was with us for a little bit too. So we also had a pattern drop, which many of you got in on. So the Black Moon Cowl, I sent her 2 skeins of Moon Shadow, is a black yarn in fingering. So it's a total of 400 yards. And she created this beautiful kind of like bandana shaped cowl. So many of you had purchased yarn from Shanna's drop or from other things that we had, and then requested the pattern for Crystal. But also you can go on over to Crystal's Ravelry and you can purchase that pattern or any other pattern from her as well too. So I know many of you jumped on over to start supporting her, and I thank you for that. So you can continue to follow her journeys. I was hoping that we might see her for Vogue Knitting Live, but no such luck. She's got too much going on with work, because if you remember, she runs her parents' manufacturing business. So we talked a little bit about that as well. So she also kind of makes me feel like, what am I doing in my spare time? And I need to pick up my game a little bit. So that's always great to have that kind of inspiration. Now, I feel like this is a good question. I actually like this question that I have for her. So I will say, get your fingers ready. It's kind of a 2-parter, but I feel like if you know the answer, then you know, but you got to get both. So she did talk about what was her original business name and what or who was it named after? Close, Crystal, but not totally. Oof, I got silence. It was her grandma, but I'm looking for the original business name. I'm not trying to be a jerk. But look, if it's complete radio silence, then I'll certainly give it to you first. But just like she's now Factory Girl Designs, her original business name was after her grandmother. Her grandmother's name was Millie, but I'm looking for the actual first business name. You might even be able to Google it quick. I'm not allowed to answer. No, you're not, Dawn. We're getting closer. You guys all have like parts of it. If nobody actually gets it, I'll find the closest. All of you have parts of it. I will say that Kathy Amdahl and Stephanie O have, we just need to combine that. Yes. Well, wait a minute, Crystal, what the hell was that? Yes, okay. Yes. Okay. All right. I had to help you guys on that one, but that's okay. But I really was looking for the specifics. I can't make them all easy for you guys. So Millie's Knit Designs was her original business brand name, and it was after her grandmother. And so she was one of the ones I actually managed to take some good notes, despite the fact that I was completely engaged and having a blast chatting with her. But that was one of them that I just thought was cool. And especially since we have kind of like a whole grandmother theme this year with our knit along. We talked a little bit about that with Sarah and just different things. So I feel like it's kind of been like a running theme. But she's been knitting for 13 years, and her she actually, if you remember, she knit for her sister. That was her first design project, and Millie's Knit Designs was named after her grandmother, and so that was her original. Yeah, that's Crystal Loy. So that was her original business name. And actually, in fact, too, the reason why I always remember it is because when she emails me, that's actually still one of the emails that she uses. So I do get to see that. So remember that you've got plenty of ways to continue to be involved with her and support her. And we've got more things coming down the pike. And she is going to be making a trip here in the summer. So she's going to get to my farm because between her and Kimberly and I, we have something a little bit bigger that we're going to maybe try and plan. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. All right. Now we can jump ahead to Danny. Danny Goodwind of Amber and Oak is the face behind our signature candles. I met her through somebody who used to work for me, and I just really loved her aesthetic. I also think that, Dawn, you already won. I also think that from my perspective, I, again, just wanted to pick somebody else, somebody different that's like involved with me, involved with my lifestyle brand, but yet something that a lot of us enjoy, candles, and maybe don't know a lot about behind the scenes. So I just thought it would be something really interesting to bring to the table. As many of you know, if you were with us live, it unfortunately ended up just being a terrible day around here at the farm. And I decided that I was still going to go ahead with the 12 days of Christmas because I knew that so many of you were enjoying it. I didn't want to break the continuity. So again, I just want to say thank you to everybody for the outpouring of support. I apologize again if it upset anybody. I'm not going to cry. I'm just coughing. That if it upset anybody in any way, or if it was hard to watch in any way, Lord knows I look like shit. But show must go on, right? And it was really good for me, and it was really helpful for me. And at the same time, as I was getting ready for it, I really loved, as I said in the program, and if you haven't watched the recording, I loved the serendipity of the fact that on the day that I had to put Pansy down, that we were talking about candles and how many of us light candles in remembrance of people we loved, somebody we loved, just in terms of uplifting spirits, for overall mood. And so it just couldn't have been any more perfect, honestly. So thank you again, everybody. And thank you for all of your messages. Whether you texted me or DM'd me, I know your thoughts were with me, and I appreciate that very, very much. And, you know, like anything else, each day, you know, you just have to keep going, right? I will say, though, as I joke around now, if I fall asleep on the floor one more time with Piggity, I'm going to put myself in traction, and it does not make for a good night's sleep at all. I don't really know if he cares. Actually, I will say the only funny thing was the first night I felt he's got like a big, big pet bed, and now he's like on the pet bed himself. And then poor Piggity, the first night I fell asleep with him. And then I guess I must have had my phone in my hand. And then I got up and I couldn't find my phone. And I was just like, oh, the hell with it. I'm just going to go to bed. And I couldn't find my phone, until he got up for breakfast. And he was sleeping on my phone. So that was like dirt all over it. I'm like, oh, trying to clean off my phone. So thankfully it's already cracked anyway. So I know he couldn't have done anything. But and then poor Piggity, because there was room on his bed, just to make it a bit more comical. Brody doesn't usually go near them in any way because he's not always very nice to them, and they don't find him as a safe place. But there was so much room on the bed that Brody got up in the middle of the night and puked on Piggity's bed. And I'm sure Piggity was like, what the hell, dude? Like, I'm having a rough time here and you got to come and puke on my bed. And I was like, so anyway, it's, I don't know, many of you asked about him. I don't really know what he thinks. I definitely know it's weird for him because now he eats in her spot outside, because I used to have to walk all the way across to feed him on the other side. So he had to, so I could slow him down for Pansy. So now I'm like, well, dude, I'm not walking all the way over there. So we're just going to eat here. And at first he was like, I don't know what to do. And he's like looking around. So anyway, so he's doing good. I'll show you guys a lot more content. And yeah, so we have a nice little special place that Pansy is now next to our first dog. And so it's really sweet. And my husband was really sweet and helping me with all of that. So yeah, I'll share that with you guys. So anyway, not to take away from Danny, again, not that I knew I wasn't going to be interested in what she had to say, but how I managed to be, so engaged. I mean, again, I could have went on and on. I mean, of course, some of the other stuff took up time, but it was great to hear about her journey in candle making, her perspective. And really, we also had a lot of fun, and we sniff tested, right? We needed smell-o-vision. That's what we were saying. And so she gave me all these little sticks with different fragrances on it. And I wanted to involve you guys. I thought it would be super cool because I have yet to, we've got a winter candle. And actually, I've got the Fleece and Snow burning over there for those guys. So that's our winter candle. And then our fall candle was Farm and Yarn. And now we're doing a spring candle, and then we will do a summer candle, so that by the time I'm done, I'll have one for every season. Of course, many of them are fine any time of year, depending on fragrances that you like, but that's kind of been my thought process behind it. So thank you to all of you for helping me go through that process. And as I said, for anybody that had bought candles using the code, which actually that code is still good. So there is code candles, CAND, you know how to spell candles. And that gets you 10% off. So you still can make that purchase up until this evening. And for anybody that has bought a candle, you are then going to be contacted once our spring candle is ready, and you will get a special discount coupon code to be able to then purchase one of our new spring candles, since you guys were part of that process. So stay tuned for that. Now, when we were talking about the candles, I feel like this one might be a tough one, but I thought it was really interesting in terms of Danny's perspective of the candles that she creates, trying to be conscientious about the materials that she uses. And yes, she described herself as a time traveler through scent, which I thought was so cool. I mean, the stories that she tells through her candles, she really has a lot of thought behind it. And so it was really interesting to hear about all of that. And safety is important in many aspects of candles. At least they were not lit going down the stairs. So, and again, as I said, and I didn't even think about that, but I told you guys I love to have candles. So even though that one is, well, I can't point. That one is fake. But there are little tea light candles kind of around the windows. You'll see them back there on the windowsills. So I do love having candles around. So again, the similarities between some of the ingredients that I think about in my skincare, and did not realize that it also applies to the fragrances that she uses. So what is the chemical that is absent from her candles as well as my skincare? See if you guys can remember this. Nope, It's not, yes, Dale. Woo! I know that's a tough one to spell, but oh, and then Sue right behind. But Dale, I will give it to you. I know what you're trying to spell, and it is a very difficult word. Actually, Sue didn't even get it correct either, but close. So it is phthalate free. So it's pronounced phthalate, but it is that PH. Again, I didn't even know what that was before I started my skincare, but that is something that is not found in my skincare in terms of when we talk about it might be a fragrance as opposed to essential oil. So essential oils will never have phthalate in them, but you can have fragrances that are phthalate free. And that's definitely something that I look for and utilize, and had no idea that that was also something that she looks for in candles. While it's not on your skin, it's still an aroma that's in the air, and it's still a chemical. So it just never dawned on me in that sense. So, Dale, I'll put you down, of course. So that was great. I knew that one was a tough one, so I thought maybe if somebody is familiar with it also. So again, a lot of content there that I know everybody really enjoyed, and I appreciate you guys all being with me on that day as well. Then I love my, I'm already laughing at myself. I love my trivia question for this one. So, our last guest last night was Sarah Barker. Yeah, talk about somebody who does a little bit of everything, right? And so I equally was, again, engaged and learning all about not only her background. I mean, one of our trivia questions could have been how we learned she went to school for botany, and then she worked in a greenhouse operation for years, but unfortunately, due to some medical issues, had to retire from that career, and then kind of found herself was like, all right, what am I going to do now? So cool that her. I'm trying to look at my that her mom, that's what it was. Her mom had owned a sewing business. So that's kind of where she got her early start in sewing. And that's where her beautiful bags kind of come into play. And in terms of then now helping out her husband and a partner in the doing restoration upholstery for cars. So just really cool in terms of, yeah, her mom is my role model. Just, really cool in terms of all of the different things that she has been able to take from her growing up and applying it to what she's doing now. I loved learning about all the different materials, right? Didn't she say it was wax cotton in the particular bag that we have in our keepsake? I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So loved how much she talked about sustainability and how she reached out to so many different resources to try to purchase their end scraps or their seconds to be able to then utilize them for her bags. Laminated cotton. Thank you, Patty. Yeah, the washable paper that she talked about too. So if you did not catch last night's programming, if you are a maker of any kind, I strongly suggest you give it a listen. There was just a lot to learn about, and very, very interesting, and very conscientious in her choices that she makes and the different things that she creates. In addition, she also weaves. And so I sent her a bunch of my end run yarns. And so we're going to follow her through her journey as she creates some woven bags for us. So the outer part of the bag will be utilizing my yarns, and they will be woven. The inner part is going to be that kind of canvas cotton that, she showed us. It's going to be a zipper pull bag. Yes, the chap scraps, honestly, I will just buy a bag based on the fact that I used to ride, and I learned that she uses the scraps from chaps that are made for riding. I thought that was amazing. So just so many cool things that she had to share with us. Now, this is just kind of a fun one, because then we're going to wrap this up and get onto this basket. And I know you guys have been so patient. We started off the program and I got completely sidetracked. Now, I know it's much, much easier. You could drop it in the chat, but it's not the trivia question. She had this gorgeous cat that she showed us. So anybody remember? It's not the trivia question. Yeah, I thought it was going to be too easy. So that was the Bengal. Yes, her ukuleles too, but that was her Bengal cat. So she has two Bengal cats, and she had just gotten this new one. Absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And so she had just gotten it. So anyway, she brought the cat out, much to the cat's dismay, just so that we could be able to see, what a Bengal cat looked like. And I thought that was really cool. So she has two Bengal cats. And then she has another cat. And so my trivia question is, what did she call the other cat? So that was very, so Sherry, that's the first one, dump cat. Dumpster cat. So it was the dumpster kitty. I just thought that was so cute. It obviously was a mutt. I don't know if she literally got the cat from a dumpster. I don't think so. I just think that is her way. What's that? It certainly could have been. So I was unclear about, I will say. I just thought, yeah, it's like a trailer park trash kitty. So I just thought it was really cute that she calls that her dumpster kitty. So anyway, I just thought that would be fun. I thought that would be a fun one to end on. And so yeah, well, that is that. So those are all of our recaps of all of our guests, and I appreciate. It definitely was a rescue of sorts, I'm sure. Whether or not it actually came from a dumpster is to be determined, I guess. I'll have to circle back and find out, and I'll report back to everybody. So anyway, that, guys, was our 11 days of our 12 days of Christmas. Now, you're going to have to bear with me for 1 minute. Oh, and with Sarah, don't forget, she doesn't have a website. She has an Etsy shop. So if you've missed, wait a minute, Sarah, you're here? I had no idea. Oh my God, I had no idea. Well, thank God I said all nice things about you. So we're all wrong. Wait, but did it come from a dumpster in the Kohl's parking lot, or just Kohl's parking lot? You have to let us know. I had no idea you were here. That's awesome. What's that?
Yeah.
What'd you say? A coupon?
It's a coupon of one sort or another.
She's just laughing. So anyway, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. That is so nice of you. Well, guys, make sure, now I didn't even know she was here, so make sure you're giving Sarah love in the chat, of course. And so, as I was saying before I realized she was here, you can definitely go and check her out on her Etsy site and support her should you feel so inclined. Now, also, I know Sarah does have a coupon code for us, LIFE20. So that's LIYF 20. And I don't remember when that's good for, so drop it in, or I'm sure Erin has that. I know it's good through next week. So you've got some time to take advantage of that. January 12th. Yeah, so it's good through, or good through next Sunday. Yes, next Sunday. Okay. And I will say also, Shanna, I didn't mention that earlier, Shanna from Lamstring Yarns. I feel like, did she offer something? You'll have to remind me, Erin. And then I know also Danny from Amber and Oak, all of her holiday candles are on sale now anyway. So if you go to her site, you can already purchase them at a discount. So many ways to be able to, that it ended last night for Shanna. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Sorry, trying to keep everything straight here. Okay, so now without further ado, you are going to have to tolerate. We are going to go through quickly all of the items that are in this keepsake basket. Now, remember, for all of you, for every $10 that you spent this week, you got one ticket to go into the basket. I don't know that I'm going to necessarily be able to go in order, but so Kimberly, there will be a coupon in here for a free workshop that is offered on her website. So that will be in here so that you can redeem that. Then our next guests, Kevin and Ray. There you are. We had 2 skeins of yarn. dyed by them or by Kevin, 2 skeins of yarn. So these are the 2 skeins. So these are Athena sock. Both of them are Athena sock, approximately 437 yards. Superwash merino with a little bit of nylon, 4-ply fingering weight, beautiful colors. And then we also have 2 enamel pins. So that is their donation. Then we rolled on to the Newfoundland ponies. And so we've got a hooded sweatshirt, a very nice heavy duty hooded sweatshirt here from the Newfoundland Pony Conservancy. Generous size. We made sure to be able to hopefully fit everybody. It's a large, but I feel like it's a nice large. So that is there. And then I keep telling everybody, I seriously need to find where they got these bags done, because this is a drawstring backpack. Great size, perfect project bag, zipper in the front, and it's like a heavy duty canvas material. I mean, it's really, really well made. So I love this one. So this is in there also from the Newfoundland Pony Conservancy. Then, probably the most coveted part of this basket, we were joined by Ashley and Catherine, and of course she talked about her Girl Scout Gold Award. So there is a coupon in here for 4 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. See? So there was a lot of discussion about Girl Scout cookies that has continued on throughout the 12 days of Christmas. Again, like I said, I think it's the most coveted thing that is in this basket. Then after them, then I was with my friend Allie from Grateful Acres. So we've got some more merch, a regular sweatshirt with her logo and her information on the back, Grateful Acres. This is in a dark navy blue and also a large, nice generous size, so that hopefully whoever's the winner can utilize it. And then after Allie, I think that's where we jumped on with New Year's Eve. So that was with Linda Courtwright. So we've got one of her books, Twisted Tales, that is in the basket, and then also a 6-month subscription to the Sunday Read. Now, remember, even if you don't win the basket, I mean, these books are available through me, through her, and then also the Sunday Read. I forgot, she talked a lot about that as well. That's something that you can go on over and subscribe to, and I think it's every other week. Because she talked about how it takes her like 20 hours to put that together. So that's a special subscription in which you can get special stories and pictures and things, and help support her again too, guys. Then after her, we had MJ Parker from Fat and Kill Fibers. So there are 2 skeins of this particular yarn called Hudson, and it's a 50% alpaca, 50% Corriedale. It is 184 yards, and it's called Black Rock. It is, just trying to see if it had the ply on here. Looks like a 3-ply, actually. Feels really soft, and it's just a beautiful steel gray. It is, well, I did say 184 yards. So there's 2 skeins of this from MJ. So we've got that, and that's all New York wool, and then spun in New York, of course. Then after MJ, then I think that's where we moved on to Crystal. And not only did Crystal also give you guys a code to be able to grab some stuff from her and her site and her patterns. A lot of her patterns, she also really focuses on size inclusivity. So she talked a lot about that as well. I forgot to mention that when we were talking about her. So out of her maker's boxes, she has this cute little sheep logo, in fact, that she uses. So these are tea towels. There are a variety of things in here. There are stitch markers with the same logo. Those are done by Katrinkles. There is also, I don't know. Actually, kind of like when you want to put like your knitting on it, kind of the made with love sort of thing. So there's tags there. There's some stickers. There's knitting needle point protectors with her cute little sheep logo. So lots of things there from Crystal. Then we were with Shanna. And so we've got a beautiful skein of yarn from Shanna. I know you guys are being so patient. Thanks for hanging in. Look at that. We still got all of you here. So this is just a really, really gorgeous kind of deep emerald, but at the same time, you can see some of the chartreuse, some blues, like a little bit of everything in there. This is her Tralala sock. So this is 463 yards of 4-ply fingering, 75% merino, 25% nylon. It's a super wash. So that's one skein that she generously donated to the basket. Then we've got a candle from Danny at Amber Oak. This is Good Tidings, as notes of spiced cranberry, aged wood, evergreen, and bright spirits. We opened that when we were all together. Got little sniffs. It was also like wine tasting, combining all of those things. And it really was true as she was reading the different notes on all of her candles. And then last but not least, then we've got this amazing bag by Sarah Barker. And this was, it was the laminated cotton? Is that what it was? But it's like waterproof. It's amazing. Chap scraps. We love that. And then the handles, of course, are also made of leather. The inside is that canvas that she talked about, 2 big pockets in there, and then this cute little wood marker that says Strung Out Knits. So this is in here from Sarah. So that is the basket in its entirety. I almost feel sick to my stomach having to pick this. I'm not kidding, but I'm not picking it. So actually, I wish John was still here, because I know, sorry for reaching up on you guys here. I didn't have this planned out well. Okay, this is the biggest bowl that I needed to have yet for you guys. God bless Jill. She came in today, worked this all out, had to tally up everything, got this all on the computer, printed out as many tickets as each of you were supposed to get. And as we said, I mean, I have it here somewhere in terms of, I mean, we don't need to be the specifics, but you know, there are some where I'm sure some people had like 2 tickets, 3 tickets. I don't know if any, yep, some people had just 1 ticket. And then there's some people, that had a lot of tickets. I'll just say that. So, and you know who you are. But it goes all over the board, and I just appreciate all of that for sure. So who knows? We'll have to see. Some of you that are deep in this bowl with lots of little tickets, and then some of you with just 1 ticket. So it's just going to be the luck of the draw. But again, this is the bowl with all of the tickets in it. So, actually, no, you did finally towards the end, didn't you? Wait, Dixie, do you want to pick a ticket?
Dixie's out gold.
Dixie's, all right. Well, so I feel like I'm not really sure. I don't feel like it's fair for me to pick. But everyone here is also in it, but
It doesn't have the best interest, so yeah, you pick.
all right.
But now you're gonna have to go get.
Get Christopher to pick it.
That's what they just said. Is he still here? He's still here.
I don't know. I mean,
I think he's out back in the shop. All right, so if you guys are okay, this is what I'm doing, right? I'm
Yeah.
turning around and I'm not looking.
not looking.
I am not looking at all. And I'm mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing.
Well,
I am. Okay. Is there even one in my finger?
that's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm trying to make sure I pick just one. Is there just one in my finger?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right, I'm turning around. No freaking way.
Uh-oh. It's you?
No, it's not me. Can you guys read that? Is it backwards for you? Ruth Ann.
It's straight.
Ruth Ann Dingwell, you are the winner. And you guys watched me, right? And you know what I'm gonna say too is like, yeah, so I don't know. You guys watched me. I will say Ruth Ann has been a longtime lifer. She's been with me from the beginning of this project. Yeah, and honestly, you know what? I think Ruth Ann was just kind of in the middle of the pack as far as her tickets. I mean, she definitely had more than one ticket, but she did not have the most tickets by far. So I hope, like, I feel bad. I hope you guys saw that it was fair. I hope you saw I wasn't watching, and I mixed and mixed and mixed and mixed, and this is the winner. So, what's that? Yes, I have witnesses. I know. Don't come for me. I love all of you. Guys, look, with that, I can only just give you my deepest thanks, the most heartfelt thanks I can for being a part of the 12 Days of Christmas. I know many of you have told me that you're sorry to see it end. I love you guys, but I mean, I do love you guys. But I will be happy to get one day off because I'm Zooming again on Wednesday. I thank you so much for enjoying this programming that I've put together. I will continue it because resoundingly, you guys are enjoying it and it keeps growing year after year. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for all of the new people that have found us as a result of it. And please, let's continue to stay in touch. Many of you that know me, truly know me, you know that I enjoy more than anything connecting with all of you. And I appreciate all of you. And for those of you that are new to us, try me. My cell phone number is available. You can catch me on social media. I love feedback. I love hearing from you. Tell me what else you're looking for. What else can I do to be able to bring more joy to this community, more positivity, and more fun things that just make us all smile. Because you guys help me every day, and I hope I help you every day. And with that, please, yes, go back and watch the days that you've missed. Enjoy them. And I will see you all on social media and see some of you soon at Vogue Knitting Live. And don't forget about all the other things that we've got coming down the pike that you can continue to participate and share in with me. So I have no other words other than thank you so much. And of course, now I'm getting choked up. I almost made it through. But thank you, everybody, from the bottom of my heart. Mwah. Love you all. Now I need to go eat.